11, a new lawsuit 2 years after this massive fire in Richmond. We have new insight tonight into where that fire originated as our 13 Investigates team talks to one of the people who now is taking legal action.
From a freeze warning to near 70 degrees, I'll have your weekend forecast.
We're a family, and we look out for each other, and we support each other.
Plus, UIndy's baseball players are rallying around one of their own who is in a big fight against cancer. And the starting five for the playoff-bound Pacers looking a little bit different tonight. We'll let you know how it went for the guys against the Magic. Live from Indy, you're watching 13 News. Tonight marks 2 years since this massive fire. It forced about 2,000 people in Richmond out of their homes. And now, after all this time, neighbors there are still trying to recover. And to do that in part, they've just filed a new lawsuit. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Anne Marie in for Scott here at 11. Some of the people involved in the case told our 13 Investigates reporter Sierra Putman they believe the city is trying to avoid any financial responsibility for this fire.
We had parking along the side of the building, and then in the building, of course, was the base.
Looking at his former business,
I want to cry. I don't want to be here.
Troy Wilson,
It's sad. It really is.
remembers 2 decades building a life as a mechanic. Then this changed it all in just one day.
Me and my daughter called 911.
The flames and billowing smoke forced Troy to evacuate first his business, then his home. He was one of 2,000 Richmond residents told to stay away for 5 days. The fire wreaked havoc on the community and the mechanic's bottom line.
Financially, it took a big wipe.
He believes it also impacted his health.
After that smoke, my stomach hurt all the time, and then I fell out and kind of find out it was chronic pancreatitis.
Troy had to stop working.
To know every day when I get up, I can't do it no more. And it's, because of health, and I know in my heart that it was this right here.
He and his attorney believe they can prove the fire resulted in health problems. Troy and the 150 other residents are suing the owner of the plastics warehouse, Seth Smith, and the city of Richmond. His suit and a separate class action lawsuit accuse the city and Smith of negligence, being a private nuisance, and battery. Attorney Jenna Kahneman says the residents want financial compensation for damages like hotel costs, lost wages, and for pain and suffering.
There might be some people who watch this and they might think going after the city is a money grab. What do you say to those people?
It's not a money grab because the city of Richmond in and of itself needs to take care of its people. At this point, the city is the one grabbing the money. They're taking these citizens' taxpayer dollars and they're just throwing it at lawyers to just sit back and say, nope, we're not responsible.
Seth Smith owned all the materials that caught fire and that piece of land. But this incident report from the Department of Homeland Security and the State Fire Marshal's Office says initial reports state the fire started over here on a piece of land owned by the city of Richmond.
Land the city took over in 2021 after years of issues with plastics and hazardous materials piling up. Local leaders commissioned an air plume study because they fear the fire could lead to possible evacuations of the area. At one point, Smith even described the property as out of control. Despite that history, Smith's attorneys wrote in federal court filings, Smith did not cause or contribute to the release of any hazardous substances and therefore cannot be liable, writing the fire was caused by an unknown arsonist. As for the city, it denies any wrongdoing and argues it's immune from liability under Indiana law.
Instead, they are fully raising their hands, washing their hands clean and saying, we are not responsible for this matter at all, and they're doubling down on that. They haven't offered a single penny to the citizens.
It's the people that live here, we eat here, we spend our paychecks here. The money would go back into the community anyway.
The city declined 13 Investigates interview requests, but did share that it paid nearly $205,000 to outside law firms relating to the fire.
Why can't they spend that $200,000 making us citizens whole? So if they spend all this money fighting it, instead of just going ahead and doing what's right.
In Richmond, Sierra Putman, 13 Investigates.
So again, this was just a new filing, and so if you think about it, we really are a long way from seeing how these lawsuits will play out. But it is worth noting that the Indiana state law does have a cap for the total amount that the city could have to pay for any single incident, and that cap is $5 million. If you would like to learn more, you can learn more and see more of our Richmond warehouse fire coverage right now on WTHR Plus. You can download that WTHR Plus app on your TV and you can watch it. It's free. Tonight, we're getting a new perspective on a deadly police shooting that happened here in Indianapolis. It comes from IMPD, which just released edited body cam video in the case. Now, this is something that happened back on February 25th. That's when an IMPD officer shot and killed a man after police say the suspect ran from officers. Now, the officers got a call around 2:30 in the morning, and they went to the scene, a gas station on the east side. Police say that Officer Grant Snyder recognized a 31-year-old man there, Adam Sykes, as he was leaving the convenience store. According to IMPD, Officer Grant knew that Sykes was wanted on a warrant. When the officer approached Sykes, police say he walked off with his hands in his pockets. Police say the officer told Sykes to remove his hands from his pockets. They say Sykes didn't comply and ran away. And then at some point in this ensuing chase, Officer Grant fired at Sykes.
Stop! You won't get tased! Stop! You down!
This video is slowed down by IMPD. The department also added the graphics that you see here. Detectives found a gun next to Sykes. Sykes went to the hospital, and that's where he later died.
My heart dropped when she told me that my son's wrist was slit.
Tonight, a mother is voicing safety concerns, and she is considering legal action too, after she says that a classmate cut her son using a razor blade on campus. Now, a warning, some of the photos in this story we're about to show you are pretty graphic. Angela Lovell is the mom, and she says it happened Thursday at Southport 6th Grade Academy. She says the call left her in disbelief. Now, according to police reports, a 12-year-old girl brought the blade to school. Lovell says the girl tried to cut her son's hair. When confronted, she says the girl instead cut her son's arm. She says it required medical attention and multiple stitches. Now Lovell says she wants accountability. She tells us she's talked with police, the prosecutor's office, and school leaders. But she says, in her opinion, they're not doing enough.
I let my son go to school in hopes that my son will be safe. The school is supposed to keep our children safe. My son was not kept safe. My son was injured, you know, and I feel like the whole situation was just being swept underneath the rug.
For comment, we reached out to the Perry Township Schools. District leaders declined to comment on specific details of 13 News, but did confirm that this incident is under investigation, saying in a statement, quote, "While the student may not have brought the razor blade with malicious intent, actions have consequences in our schools and potential legal consequences when someone is injured." Angela?
And Marie, clear and chilly on this April Friday night. Temperatures in a lot of locations have already dropped into the 30s. 35 Richmond, 39 Columbus, 38 Bloomington. We still have 42 in Indianapolis. Overnight temperatures upper 20s, low 30s, cold enough that we've got another freeze warning. It's the third freeze warning of the week. It does include central Indiana from midnight to 9 a.m. From that frosty start, we'll have a quick warm up. Upper 40s, low 50s midday, highs tomorrow near 60.
Thanks, Angela. Doorbell cameras giving us a new look tonight at that EF1 tornado that ripped through southern Indiana. The storm hit just yesterday. And what we're looking at here is footage. This comes from Dennis Kelly, who's in the Princeton area. And if you look at this video, you can see the really strong winds hitting the trees and blowing debris around the neighborhood. Now we want to show you this video. It's from Kyler Havel, who's also in Princeton. This tornado was on the ground for a little more than a mile. Good news, police say no injuries are reported. Now to the west side, where the Brownsburg Town Council is taking steps to make things easier for people who are cleaning up and were impacted by the recent storms. The panel there voted unanimously to approve a plan that would waive certain permit fees for home and business owners who have property damage. The fees are now waived from today through April 10th of 2026. Indiana Governor Mike Braun announced a state of emergency meantime for 18 counties in Indiana after the flooding and storm damage that we've got recently, and this is now in effect for 30 days. It allows the Indiana Department of Homeland Security to begin providing financial assistance to residents. The Fan Jam returns to Indianapolis. We're going to take you to the celebration and break down the plans to build Final Four excitement ahead of the 2026 NCAA tournament.
And we're excited for a weekend warm-up near 60 tomorrow, even warmer on Sunday.
A garden variety contribution to high school students in Indy.
And it's just something that you can continue just to add to, your own skill set. And like I said, it just brings people together.
We'll show you how a Colts player is giving back next.